Sorry, I was on mute. Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be going through a arena video, arena tutorial in Hearthstone, and teach you guys what picks I would prefer, why I prefer them, and I will also tell you with your playstyle why you should or shouldn't pick different cards. So let's get started. So we're going to go into the arena, and as you can see here, you either have to pay real money or use gold, which you can earn in-game. Oh, I guess you guys can't see because of my webcam down here, but I have compiled about 2,000 gold at the moment from arena runs. So let's take a look. Here are the three classes. Strictly in terms of win percentage, Mage is the most powerful in arena. Mage and Rogue have the highest win percentages. But based on your playstyle, it could depend. You may not be a good Mage player because you may not know when to attack the hero versus attack minions. And if you're not familiar with when you should stop trading on the board and when you should start going for the kill, then you might want to go with something like a Priest, which is basically always control the board throughout the entire game and just basically wear your opponent down with heals and removal spells like Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death, which kill creatures. The Warrior is an interesting one. In the arena, the Warrior playstyle is more about it's more board control, but you tend to dip very low because of the weapons that Warrior has. So you use your weapons to gain board control by hitting creatures, but when you hit the creatures, you take damage. So for me personally, I think Mage is my best playstyle since I've played it so much in Constructed already. I'm going to go with Mage. Okay, so first pick here, Argent Commander goes 2 for 1 in almost every scenario. Like I said in my previous video, has a Divine Shield with charge. As soon as you play him, he can kill a creature for free because it only bounces the Divine Shield, and he's still on the board. Ancient Mage could be good, potentially with Mage Hero, if you do get plenty of spells. But in the arena, it's possible to get 0 spells through all 30 picks of building your deck. So early on in the draft, you always want to pick the most solid ones that don't depend on other cards. So non-dependent cards, or independent high-value cards, I should say, are the best picks when you're first starting your draft. Argent Commander is definitely the one here. Mind Control Tech, I guess, is worth consideration. Later on in the draft, if I was short on 3 drops, meaning it costs 3 mana, then I would consider Mind Control Tech. If I had no 3 drops at all, or if I was low. He is a good card. He can be good against things like a Warlock that floods the board with 4 or more creatures. But we're going to go with the high independent value early on and pick Argent Commander. Now, okay, Jungle Panther, Ironfur Grizzly, and Spellbreaker. Spellbreaker in the arena is actually amazing because silence is so very valuable. A lot of people play things like Frostwolf Warlords in the arena. Also, if you need to silence a taunt creature, it can be extremely handy. There's a ton of things to silence in the arena. And also because he has 4 attack, he trades up. But because he has 3 health, he also trades down, which means he can be killed by a 3 damage minion. A 2-drop could kill him in theory. Ironfur Grizzly is worth considering because it's a 3/3. It's a solid 3-drop. So is Jungle Panther actually. It's good for momentum. You play it on turn 3. And with 4 attack, it can generally threaten to kill a 4-drop that the opponent plays the following turn. Stealth means it can't be targeted, so it sits there on the board, guaranteed it won't die, unless they use an AoE clear spell. However, in this case, so early on in the arena, it's good to pick up your silence early. Your silence and your card draw mechanics early. Those are the top priority in arena, because those are what really change and make or break the game. So we're going to go with the silence. Okay. Thrallmaw, Wisp, or Frost Nova. This is a less than spectacular pick right here. Thrallmaw Farseer is the best independent value. I know it might seem like Wisp, it's infinite value, right? It costs 0 for 1/1. However, it's not actually that good. If you're thinking late game in the arena, when you and your opponent are both out of cards and you're drawing one at a time and playing it, you're playing every card you get, and it's your card versus his card every turn. If you draw a Wisp, you are dead in the water. You lose board control, the game is over. The only situation where I would consider Wisp is if I was playing a Rogue and my deck was too heavy already, and I needed something to use to activate combo cards in a rogue. But since I don't, I'm just going to go with the Thrallmar Farseer here. Frost Nova can be good if you know that you have a lot of freeze spells and like Pyroblasts and things like that to freeze the enemy creatures while dealing damage with spells. But we don't. It's so early in the draft. We're just going to go with the Thrallmar. Excuse me. Okay. Sen'jin Shieldmaster, Merlok Raider, or Flesh-Eating Ghoul. We already have a 3, a 4, and a 6 drop. So we always want to look at that. We always want to look at our curve down here as well. Sen'jin Shieldmaster is one of the best cards in the arena, not only because it has taunt, but because of the 5 health. Pretty much anything they play on turn 3 or turn 4 almost always cannot kill Sen'jin. So they need to not only sack their creature, they need to use a spell to get rid of him as well. The 5 health is what makes Sen'jin so amazing. It's such an awkward amount of health on turn 3 and 4. Flesh-Eating Ghoul is a good card. However, Sen'jin is definitely better. Flesh-Eating Ghoul can trade down. If you're playing against another mage and they play a 2-3 on turn 3 as well, and they bounce against yours and then ping your guy dies first. It's just not really that reliable. And Merlok Raider, it's not a Merlok deck, and since I'm not playing a rogue or a warlock, I don't need to worry about low-cost minions. So we're going to go with Sen'jin. Ice Barrier, Stranglethorn, or Stone Tusk. The highest independent value here is Stranglethorn. It's a solid 5 for 5/5, the golden rule in Hearthstone. So is the Stone Tusk Boar, technically. But in a top decking situation late game, that's what you need to think about in Arena. And I'm not playing a rogue, so I don't need, my curve is not that heavy yet, so I don't need the low cost creatures or combo effects. I would go with the Stranglethorn here. Ice Barrier is worth consideration, but in the arena it's always better to establish your creature base first. Establish a solid creature base to obtain board control before you start going for things like spells. Unless it's something like a Pyroblast, a Fireball. Those are essential mage spells, so we're going to go with the Stranglethorn. Ice Barrier, Spiteful, or Cone of Cold. To some people it may look like instant Cone of Cold, but to me Spiteful Smith is one of the highest value cards in the game because of his 6 health. Once again, Ice Barrier, we're going to hold off on that until later. We're going to establish our solid creature base first. However, in the arena, Cone of Cold is extremely powerful. This is actually a fairly tough pick. We do have a 5-drop already with a Stranglethorn Tiger. Our creature base is looking good. So I would actually consider Cone of Cold. And I think I will, simply because we already have a 5-drop, and we only have one 3-drop, and a Cone of Cold spell. Yeah, Cone of Cold can be amazing, actually. Only because I have this Tiger already, I will pick the Cone of Cold. In any other circumstance, I would probably pick the Spiteful Smith. Because of the 6 health is so awkward. He doesn't die to things like Arcanite Reaper. A warrior can play an Arcanite Reaper on turn 5, which does 5 damage, which means he couldn't even kill the Smith, which is why he's so powerful. But we're going to go Cone here. It's a good control spell. Also does damage. And because of our creature base, we are going to go with that. Let's see here. So, Flesh-Eating Ghoul, Reckless Rocketeer, and Frost Nova. Reckless Rocketeer is a good finisher as a mage. It's an excellent finisher, but we already have one 6-drop charge already, and it's much better than Rocketeer, because he trades favorably with Divine Shield. Rocketeer has no Divine Shield. Flesh-Eating Ghoul is a really solid 3-drop, and it's better to curve your deck earlier in the curve, to establish a good early game and a good creature base. So we're going to go with the Flesh-Eating Ghoul here. Flame Strike, Frost Ellie, or Dark Scale. In the arena, Flame Strike is one of the most powerful spells by far. Always pick it, no matter what. Unless you have 3 or 4 Flame Strikes already. That's the only situation in which you should ever even think about picking anything other than a Flame Strike. These two are both good cards, really decent value, but nothing beats Flame Strike in a mage deck in the arena. Once again, Flame Strike, first pick always. Frostwolf Warlord, Reckless Rocketeer are decent cards. I could go into more explanation, but right now it's just Flame Strike. That's just always pick Flame Strike. Okay, Pyro, Mountain Giant, or Ice Block. This is really awesome. Pyroblast definitely is the #1 value card in the arena. It's an amazing finisher. Ice Block is only good if you already have the Pyroblasts. pretty much, although Ice Block is also amazing. However, in this case I would value Pyroblast more, simply because dealing that 10 damage, honestly I think it's kind of broken right now, and I think Blizzard needs to nerf it soon to deal 9 damage or cost 9 mana. Mountain Giant is not worth consideration with a Pyroblast here. You should always first pick Pyroblast and Flame Strike, no matter what, in a mage deck in the arena. So Windfury Harpy, Gold Shard Footman, or Stormwind Knight. Looking at our curve right now, we do have one 6-drop Charger. We do have 2 4-drops at the moment. However, in a mage deck, it's more important to establish your early creature base first. I would rather have too many 4-drops than not enough 4-drops, and have too many 6-drops. So we're going to go with the 4-drop, 4-cost creature instead. That's what I'm looking at here, is the cost of the creature. So we're going to go with Stormwind Knight. Fen Creeper, Frostbolt, or Young Dragonhawk. Fen Creeper is a decent value card, 3 for 6. He's that's awkward 6 health on turn 5, means he can't be killed by an Arcanite Reaper or any weapons. He can die to Fireball though from a mage. But Frostbolt is the highest value card. It gives you board control. It only costs 2 mana and deals 3 damage. In terms of efficiency, dealing 1 more damage than the cost of the card is extremely good. Once again, I'm not a rogue. I wouldn't consider the 1-drop. Gonna go with Frostbolt. Lord of the Arena, Ironfur Grizzly, or Ironbeak Owl. For me, this one's between Lord of the Arena and Ironbeak. Ironbeak Silence is really good, but since we already have a Spellbreaker, I would consider Lord of the Arena. And we already have 2 3-drops as well. We have the Flesh-Eating Ghoul and the Thrallmore Farseer. So I don't think I would pick the Ironfur Grizzly right now. Considering I just picked a 4-drop over a 6-drop, I think I will actually go with Lord of the Arena here. He's a really good taunt, really powerful late game, and in a top deck scenario, when you're playing every card you get and your opponent is playing every card they get, Lord of the Arena is absolutely amazing. So we're going to go with that. Even though he does have 5 health, he can be killed by things like an Arcanite Reaper. He still trades up with the 6 damage. So if you look at things like a Spiteful Smith that get played on turn 5, Lord of the Arena actually kills Spiteful Smith for free, essentially, and lives with 1 health, because the Spiteful Smith is a 4/6. So it's something to consider, the 5-drops that he can play against. The only thing that trades favorably with him is Booty Bay Bodyguard on turn 5, and almost no one plays that card. So we have Venturecoat Mercenary, Goldshire Footman, and Razorfen Hunter. Once again, I want to establish my early game first. Considering I just picked a 6-drop and I have 2 Flame Strikes and a Pyro, my deck is looking pretty heavy, and I have another 6-drop as well. So I want to avoid the higher cost minions. I'm going to go with the Razorfen here. It's really good value. It's essentially 3 mana for 2/3 and then plus 1/1. So that's essentially 3/4 if you look at it like that. So 3 for 3/4. And that's actually higher than the golden rule of Hearthstone, which is 3 for 3/3. So this is plus 1 value. And it's also good early game as well. So I'm going to go with that. Nice. So if you watched my legendary video, you know that I think Sylvanas Windrunner is probably the best legendary in the game. So I'm going to go with that over Alexstrasza. Alexstrasza is amazing in a mage deck because you can turn the enemy's health to 15 and then Pyroblast the next turn, or use burn spells to kill them. However, Sylvanas is just absolutely the best, and I think it's more important to establish board control as a mage than it is to just reduce their health to 15. If this was constructed, I might consider Alexstrasza if I was running Molten and Mountain Giants, but in this case I will go with Sylvanas. She's absolutely amazing. 5 for 5/5, the golden rule, and when she dies, she mind controls an enemy unit and gives you that card. So not only does she kill a card, but she takes another card from the opponent and gives it to you. So in terms of value, that's a -2 for them and +1 for you. That's practically a 3 for 1 in theory, I believe. So Sylvanas, absolutely amazing. Nice. Water Ellie, Stormpike, and Southsea. Water Elemental is one of the most amazing arena cards in the game. It's similar to Spiteful Smith. If you look at Spiteful, it's a 5-drop for 4/6 versus Water Ellie, which is a 4-drop for 3/6. So 1 less mana, and it's only 1 less stats, which in the golden rule of Hearthstone, remember, for each each point, we should be gaining or losing 2 stats. Since it's only losing 1, it's actually +1 for the Water Ellie in terms of value, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And also, if you look at the stats, it's 9 worth of stats. 3 + 6 is 9 for 4 cost. So instead of 4/4/4, for 8. This is +1 value in terms of Hearthstone stats, but not only that, it freezes anything it attacks, and if it hits a hero with a weapon like a rogue or a warrior, it can freeze them and prevent them from using the weapon. So it's absolutely amazing. We're going to go with Water Ellie. Okay, Arcane Missile, Ogre Magi, or Frost Nova. Considering how many 4-drops I have already with the Water, the Stormpike, the Spell, and the Senjin, I would like to go with the Arcane Missiles here. It deals damage, it only costs 1. And if there's a creature on the board with 2 health, if you Arcane Missile and there's nothing else on the board, it's actually a 50-50 chance to completely kill the 2 health creature on the board. Because there are 3 missiles. Yeah, I'd have to make a separate video on like the probability stats, because I can't pull everything off the top of my head. But if you're shooting 3 missiles at 2 targets, you know, you're almost guaranteed to hit 1 missile on each target, and then the 3rd missile is essentially a 50-50 chance that you're going to either deal 2 damage to the board or 2 damage to the hero. So you have an opportunity to kill the creature with a 1-drop and potentially gain a lot of value. Spell power is worth considering in a mage deck, but since I have so many 4-drops, we're going to go with the Arcane Missiles. Again, I want to avoid the Frost Nova. It's very low independent value. And in the arena, you want high independent value cards and good board control with creatures and minions. Okay, so we don't have any 2-drop creatures yet. So no matter what these are, I'm going to pick the River Crocalist because I need something to play on turn 2. I absolutely need a creature, or I need to get my Frostbolt to kill their creature so that I can play my 3-drop the following turn. So I will pick the River Crocalist here. Sorcerer's Apprentice, Voodoo, or Wolf Rider. Once again, I only have 1 2-drop that I just picked up. It's so crucial that you look at your curve and you get this right. I will pick the Sorcerer's Apprentice because it's a 2-drop. It doesn't matter what it is at this point, even though Sorcerer's Apprentice is really good. It synergizes really well. This actually makes Arcane Missiles cost 0 because the spells cost 1 less. It's a really good card in Arena, but also it's a 2-drop. More importantly, I'm going to go with that. Okay, Arcane, Blood Corsair, or Cold Light. Considering I have no Murlocs, the Battle Cry on this 3-drop is useless, and it's 3 for 2/3, so it's low value. Bloodsail Corsair, 1 for 1/2. Technically speaking, that's high value. And it kind of serves as a pseudo ooze. But independent value, if I'm playing an opponent who doesn't have a weapon, it's not very good. So I'm going to go with Arcane Golem here. Just because I am actually short on, I only have 3 3-drops at the moment, and as a mage it's important to have creatures with charge or that deal a lot of damage to kill them quickly, and I do have a Pyroblast, so I do like the Arcane Golem pickup here. Monoworm, Argent Squire, Fairy Dragon. This is actually extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Monoworm is actually one of the best cards in the game though for a mage, so I'm definitely leaning towards that. But these cards are also really good. I'm not playing a rogue though, so Argent Squire and Monoworm would be the same thing in terms of cost, but Monoworm has so much synergy with my spells, and I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spells to combo with Monoworm to buff its attack. Every time you cast a spell, gain +1 attack. Fairy Dragon is a really good 2-drop though, and I only have 2 2-drops. But Monoworm is also good to drop on turn 2 as well. It's between Monoworm and Fairy Dragon. Considering I have 6 or 7 spells, we're going to go with the Worm. It's much more powerful if I get Mirror Image. Nice. So that's what I was about to say, is Mirror Image. Now that I have a Monoworm, I will get Mirror Image. Also with Sorcerer's Apprentice, the Mirror Image costs 0. I would not even consider anything else at this point. Mirror Image it is. Corehound, Rivercroc, or Cult Master. Something important is to look at your card draw mechanics in an arena deck. Right now we have 0 card draw mechanics. We have nothing that says draw us a card. So we have to go with the Cult Master simply to draw cards, no matter what these other 2 picks are. We're probably going to need to pick up all the other card draw mechanics as well if we get them. Nice. So Harvest Golem, as you guys know from my previous videos, or from my first Hearthstone video, I think is the best card in the game. One of the best cards in the game, the best common card anyways. As soon as it dies, summon a 2/1 damage Golem. Your opponent has to use not only 1 spell to kill the Golem, but another spell or hero ability to kill the respawn. It's so powerful. I would not consider either of these over it. And my deck is also leaning a little bit heavy at the moment, so we're going to go with the Harvest Golem. Merlok, Bloodsail, or Boulderfist. Boulderfist is one of the most powerful 6-drops in the arena, and like I was saying earlier, in a top decking scenario, if you draw a Boulderfist Ogre and the board is clear, you're going 1 for 1, drawing a card and playing it, Boulderfist Ogre is by far and away the best card to have. 6 for 6/7. Golden rule of Hearthstone, remember, 6 for 6/6. It's +1 value. Bloodsail Raider is worth considering as a solid 2-drop since I only have the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the River Croc. But I do have a Monoworm, Frostbolt, Arcane Missiles, Mirror Image, so I have some good early game removal. This is one that is actually fairly tough, because my deck is kind of heavy with the Stranglethorn, Sylvanas, Argent, and Lord of the Arena. But Boulderfist is just so powerful. I don't see there's any way we can really pass him up. Yeah, so we're going to go with the Boulderfist here. This is worth considering. Technically this is high value as well, but we're not synergizing with Merloks. Yeah, we're going to go with the Boulderfist. So once again, as you guys know, Harvest Golem, one of the best cards in the game in my opinion. Even better than Shattered Sun. Even though Shattered Sun is also one of the best cards, it's essentially the same thing as a Harvest Golem with reversed stats. But if you look at the respawn, 2-1 for the Damage Golem versus only giving 1-1 to a friendly minion, the Harvest Golem is actually better in terms of standalone value, so we will get the Harvest Golem. Stone Tusk, Stormwind, or Merlok. At this point I'm short on 2-drops. I will pick the Merlok Tidehunter no matter what these other 2 cards are. If it's a 2-drop I'm going to pick it because I need a strong turn 2. And I already have a ton of 4-drops if you look at this curve as well. So we will go with the Merlok Tidehunter. And in the golden rule of Hearthstone, Tidehunter is actually favorable in terms of stats. Once again, we only have 1 card draw mechanic with the Cult Master. Very important to consider your card draw. So we have to pick the Gnomish Inventor no matter what these 2 cards are, unless it's like a Pyroblast or an Ice Block, which are epics though. And this is a common pack. So Gnomish Inventor it is. We need card draw, and Gnomish Inventor is actually really good. 4 health, he's a really durable, annoying creature to deal with. Wow, nice. So once again, I'm considering my turn 2. However, I do have a Monoworm and Mirror Image with a Sorcerer's Apprentice. The Arcane Missile is worth consideration. The Ice Barrier is not at this point. I need more removal for board control, like Arcane Missiles, or I need another 2-drop, a solid 2-drop to play. Amani synergizes really well with the Mage Hero ability because you can ping the Amani and then go through and deal 5 damage to the enemy hero. So I would consider Amani. In fact, let's count. We have 1, 2, 3 2-drops at the moment. In a deck, I prefer to have at least 4 or 5 2-drops. Despite having a Monoworm, I think I will go with the Amani Berserker. Yes, we want more standalone value, more durability, something that we can put out on the board and delay with. If I just have Arcane Missiles in my hand, I'm thinking about being card starved. I only have 2 card draw mechanics. If I had more card draw mechanics, I would consider Arcane Missiles because I wouldn't have to worry about running out of cards. The Amani helps me not run out because I play him. He's durable, lives for 1 or 2 turns, and I'm playing 1 creature per turn, drawing 1 card per turn, and so I keep my hand healthy. Instead of Arcane Missiles, if I draw both Arcane Missiles in my opening hand and I use them both to remove creatures, my opponent immediately has a card advantage on me, especially if he plays something with more than 2 or 3 health, because this will have a less than 50% chance to kill it. So Amani Berserker is the way to go here. Wow, nice. Gadgetzan, Pint Sizer, Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler is one of the best arena cards in the game, in my opinion. Once again, I prefer to have 4 or 5 2-drops. Currently, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like to pick up a 5th just to be safe, because turn 2 is such a huge landmark in Hearthstone. If you miss your turn 2 and you don't play a creature, the entire game can snowball out of control. Considering we've already established our late game and our spells and our AoE removal with Flame Strike, we have the Ogre, we have Sylvanas, we have Lord of the Arena. This deck is looking really, really good. We're going to go with Knife Juggler. Every time you summon a creature, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, so he summons a knife and shoots it out at a random target. That can synergize really well with Mirror Images as well, because each one of the Mirror Images summons a knife to hit your opponent. So because of the synergy in the deck, I would not consider these 2. No matter what they are. Just immediately looking at Knife Juggler, I would pick Knife Juggler. And that's our deck, and it's all completed and ready to go. And tonight I will be making a video on how this deck does, and I'll also, guide you through my decisions and stuff like that. At least I believe I can, as long as I can post, as long as YouTube lets me post a video that's that long. It's going to be pretty substantially long. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully this helps you pick in your arena decks. Yeah, and hopefully you succeed and make tons of gold. And let's see here, just so you guys can see, I have the 12 Lightforge key, 663 arena wins. Currently the ranking system just reset. Previously I was a rank 1 in Constructed, but here's all my hero levels. There were some people that were asking for that info. Yeah, and hopefully if you guys don't have the 12-win Lightforge key, hopefully soon you will get it, maybe with the help of this video. And plenty of practice too, because your playstyle really needs to be fine-tuned. So anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.